Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're having a great holiday season so far. We are talking about another error-ridden junk wax set. This is the 1990 Fleer set. Not a lot of cool stuff in the set. It's okay looking. Looks kind of modern. Looks 90-ish. No pictures on the back. They got some facts. This did you know section on the back. Nothing great. Man, these cards are worth nothing. You can still pick them up next to nothing. There's 660 cards in the set, kind of their norm for that time. And they are cheap. And there's some really, really bad quality control in this set. We're going to talk about them. There's a lot. We're going to go through them kind of fast. Some of them are kind of funny. Some of them are, I don't know, kind of silly that they didn't correct them. Let's also get started with talking about grunttalksmlb.com. Darren is my buddy. He has a website over there dedicated to all things baseball. Lots of cool stuff, funny stuff, clips. Also, Grunt Baseball. That's his YouTube channel. Check it out when you get a chance. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, go down and hit that subscribe button right now. I appreciate it. Let's get going with these errors. There's a lot. Most of them were uncorrected. Here we go. Number 6, Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley. There's a variation on this card where part of the number is unfilled on the back. I'll show you a scan of that one because it's easy to miss. They did come back and fill it in completely, considered a variation. Felix Jose, card number 13, date of birth wrong. Mark McGuire, number 15. Couple things going on with this card. There he is. Got in trouble for some PEDs later. So on the back, it says that in 89 that he had 4 runs with the A's. Well, that's incorrect. It should be 74. Kind of a big mistake there. They did not correct that. There's actually a variation going on too. So look, I'll show you some scans anyway, but look, right there on his pocket, there's a little black dot right above the K in his first name. You can get it with or without that black dot. I found that the black dot was really easy to find. The one without the dot is harder to find, but not recognized by Beckett. No extra value. Mark Grace, number 32. His 1988 Iowa stat line is just missing. They did not put it on the card. That was uncorrected. Will the Thrill Clark, card number 54. Uncorrected error. The 5th line says first in runs. Well, it should be tied for first in runs. Okay, so not a huge issue, but still incorrect. Kurt Manwaring, card number 64. There's no 88 Phoenix stats. They just left it off again. And you'll find there's a few like that. Also with the same card, it says his home is Horsehead. It should be Horseheads, plural. Okay, well, I never heard of that. Never heard of Horsehead. But apparently there should be an S on that. Jose Uribe, 74. Okay, not $1 million card. We could make a whole video just about this particular card. Not worth a lot. Lots of stories behind this one. There is actually an uncorrected error. And notice I say uncorrected. It says date of birth is wrong. There's no corrected version. If you have this card, you have the only one. So when you see this card going for hundreds or thousands on eBay, it's all bull. Don't fall for it. That's another topic. 87, Nelson Liriano. It said he led the TL, but it should be he led the IL as an international league. They just got a T instead of an I. Dwayne Ward, number 95, uncorrected error. 1987 Syracuse stat line is duplicated. They got it on there twice. How did that get by them? They just had the same line twice, and they couldn't catch that, I guess. Danny Tartable, card number 120, says he's born in Carlsbad, California. Should be San Juan, Puerto Rico. Well, big difference. That was uncorrected. 134, Brian Harvey. Third lines. This is funny. This is probably one of my favorites. It says he struck cut. Well, it should be he struck out. they got a C instead of an O on out. So it says he struck cut. Doesn't make much sense. They did not correct that. Carmelo Martinez, 162. This is a variation where they may have an accent above his name. I searched and searched and searched. Well, I did find some examples where the accent is missing. It was extremely uncommon. All the ones I could find had the accent above it. So if you got the one without the accent, probably got some money, but there wasn't really any values that I could find on that either. Let's move on. Jeff Ballard, 173. This is an uncorrected error. In 1986, it said he pitched 6 innings. But it should be 6.1. Okay, what did he do? All right, so he had an extra out on that inning. Should be 6.1. Mike Devereaux, 175. There's a variation. Okay, so this is interesting. So this is not his card. This is the Mark McGwire. But see how it has the pink and yellow lines on the back through the stats? Well, his have the pink and yellow lines that go all the way through this did you know box. And it's very weird because if you see it, you'll see it's different than any other back. And they actually did come back and correct that where it does stop above the did you know box. And that was really hard to find. Steve Finley, 176. Date of birth is wrong. That was uncorrected. Pete Harnish, 177. Second line should be 2.16 ERA, which is really good. But it says 0.216 ERA. Well, that would be incredible, but it's not real. It was a mistake. Should be 2.16, but still very good. 183, Randy Milligan, uncorrected also. 1987 Tidewater and Met stats lines are duplicated. So both of them, they just have two of each of those. Craig Worthington, 195. Home says Pico Rivero. It should be Pico Rivera. That was uncorrected. Don Austin, 196. 1984 Redwood runs say 4, but he should have 9 runs for 87 in Tidewater. 209 Barry Lyons, uncorrected. The 1987 Met stat line is duplicated. Lots of those going on. Willie McGee, 253. There's no decimal point before his 1985 batting average, so it just doesn't have a period before it. Milt Thomas, 262. 1980 Durham at-bats say 225. They should be 255. Well, I wouldn't know the difference. But Rob Murphy, 281. Uncorrected also. 1989 stats listed as Reds when it should be Red Sox. Yeah, two different teams, Flair. Scott Coolbaugh, 293. Okay, so it says he's born in Binghamton with a P, but they shouldn't have had a P in Binghamton. I didn't know the difference, but here we go. 315, Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt Sr. Now, in 1985, this was uncorrected. It says he played for Tulsa. No, it should be Tulsa, not Tesla, of course. Sounds like Tesla. But they misspelled that, and they did not catch that. They did not correct that. Bill Kruger, 328, uncorrected. 1986 A-stats line is missing, but it's interesting because the totals are correct. So it's missing the line, but the totals actually were including those that year of stats. Gary Sheffield, 336, uncorrected error. Third line says he played for 3 different teams in 87. It should have been 88. 353, Dave Martinez. Now, this one is the cool one here. I don't have values on this, but I'll tell you what I found on that. So there's a variation where the 90 right there at the top, if it'll focus. So this one is the red one, and there is a yellow version of that where the 90 is showing in yellow, and it's really hard to find. I was able to find a couple on eBay that are going for like north of like $50, $100. And I don't know if they're really worth that much, but wasn't able to find any for an inexpensive price. Unfortunately, I don't have the one in yellow. I just got these common ones in red. So check your Dave Martinez number 353 and see if you got the one with the yellow 90. And you're probably got some money there. Probably the most expensive card in this set. Dennis Martinez, 354, uncorrected errors. In 1987, his Miami ERA was 616. Well, they left out the decimal. It should be 6.16, which is not good. Herman Gonzalez, 376. His date of birth is incorrect. Also, his did you know stats are mismatched for 1988. So they got the wrong ones in there if you look at compared to his stats. They did not correct either one of those. Tim Laudner, 380. There's no decimal point before the 1985 batting average. Did not correct it. Tim Cruz, 390, also uncorrected. The last line says career high of 136 innings. Should be 163. Okay. J. Howell, 400, uncorrected error. The 1982 Yankee stats line is missing, but it's included in the total. So again, they left it out, but they got it correct in the total. So 413, Todd Benzinger, uncorrected error. His bio says he had 323 batting average for Pawtucket, but the stats actually say 321. So the bio does not match the stats. So it's close. 421, Chris Hammond, played for Nashville in 89, but it's not listed on his stats. Luis Quinones, 428, uncorrected error also. His 86 through 88 stats lines are missing. So 3 years is missing, but it's included in the totals. 436, Steve Balboni, uncorrected. His 1980 Nashville walks and strikeouts are swapped. They just got the 2 numbers backwards for some reason. Alvaro Espinoza, card number 441. Total games are 218, but it should be 219. They were just off by 1 game. Whoop-de-doo. Billy Hatcher, 476. This one's my favorite, I promise. This one's hilarious. So it's an uncorrected error. In 1984, he was on the Cubs. And if you look at his hits, I'm not joking, it says -1. Okay. It should be 1 hit for the Cubs. They got him as a -1, literally with a negative in front of it. How did that slip by him? You can't have a negative number in hits. Joey Bell, 485. The Did You Know bio on the back is for J. Bell. And Dave Clark, 490. Uncorrected error as well. Strikeouts are missing from the 1984 stat lines. John Farrell, 491. He was born in Neptune, according to the card. Neptune, not the planet, but it actually is incorrect. It should be Monmouth Beach. Rod Nichols, 497, okay, uncorrected error. So it says he went to the University of Mexico. Well, he didn't go to Mexico to go to college. It should be New Mexico, University of New Mexico. I think that one's hilarious. Pete O'Brien, 498, 1987 batting average says 266. It should be 286. Poor guy. Gave him a lower batting average than he deserved. Scott Bradley, number 506, uncorrected as well. It says he's born in New York, but it should be New Jersey, the Garden State. Whoop-de-doo. Greg Briley, 507. The bio says that 28 stolen bases in 1988, but the stat line has 27. So the bio and the stats do not agree with each other. Again. So 528, Omar Vizquel. This is uncorrected. So it says in 1985 he played for Bellingham and he had a batting average of 255. It should be 225. So they gave him a better batting average than he deserved and did not correct that. 529, Ivan Calderon. 1980 stats are misaligned. This is kind of funny there. They just, I don't know, they're in a hurry. They didn't space it right. 530, Carlton Fisk. Hall of Fame catcher. He was born in Bellows Falls. That's Bellows with an S, but they left off the S, said Bellow Falls. That was uncorrected. Ron Kittle, 538, uncorrected error as well. It says in 1982 he played for Edmonton. It should be Edmonton with an O in the middle, not a U. They just misspelt it. 542, Matt Marullo. Uncorrected error. Total runs say 6, but it should be 5. Don Paul, 543. Second line says 1988. It should be 1985. Okay, so you're a little bit off there. Sammy Sosa, 548. They got his date of birth wrong. Several years had his date of birth wrong, actually. Bobby Thigpen, 549. 1986 Birmingham ERA shows 469. It should be 468. Okay, well, close enough. Pat Combs, 553. The fourth line says, and just 4 walks, but the stat line says just 6 walks. So stats and bio are not matching again. Ricky Jordan, 564. His uncorrected error on this one, where it says is 88 main stats, twice. It's duplicated. Terry Mulholland, 568. The Did You Know bio belongs to Dave Magadan. Okay, so it doesn't even go to him. For a different person altogether. Jose Alvarez, 574. This is an uncorrected error where it says his Kingsport listed as 1979, but he played there in 1978. Okay. Martin Clary, 578. There's no comma between city and state. Dave Justice. Man, I remember this guy. I thought he was going to be the next big thing. 586, Dave Justice. It's an uncorrected error where in 1986 he had 15 doubles with Sumter, but it should be 16. So they just shorted him 1. Kent Merker, 590. Bio says he had a league-leading 2.75 ERA, but the stat line says 2.68. So again, not agreeing. Mike Stanton, 596. There's no comma between city and state again, just like the other guy. 601, Bryant Dubois. Now this is kind of interesting. He's got a French spelling there where his Dubois is spelled with a capital D and a capital B. But on the card, they did not capitalize the B. You know what? I can see why they made that mistake, and I think it's kind of petty to correct them on that, but it's considered an error, and it was uncorrected. 609 Fred Lynn is an uncorrected error as well, where in 74 and 75, the Red Sox lines are missing, but the totals are correct. Jeff Robinson, 614, there's misaligned 1989 stats. It's just not aligned as well. That's the second one of those we see. George Brett, Hall of Famer. Okay, so we're getting into some of these Players of the Decades cards, and the George Brett here, the bio says he had 10 batting average of 390 or more. And that was not correct, not even close. It should be 10 300 batting average seasons. Well, he was a great hitter, and I can see why they make that mistake, but it was not 390 or more. And Cal Ripken, 624. Now, I actually made a video just about this card where there's several things going on, but as far as this video is concerned, they misspelled his last name, R-I-P-K-I-N, which really bothers me. It's like he's a future Hall of Famer, the Iron Man, been in baseball for a long time, and they can't even spell his last name correctly. They did come back and correct both of those, the George Brett and the Cal Ripken. So very few corrections in the set. Those two are some examples. Now this next one, 629, really cool error, Jose Canseco. So this one was uncorrected. Okay, I'll come back to that uncorrected part. But it says that Reggie Jackson, Mr. October, won the American League MVP in 83. It should be 73. They did not come back and correct that. Now hear me out. But there is a corrected version in the Canadian Fleer release. So it looks identical to this, but in the bottom corner it has printed in Canada. Now it's not considered a correction because it's like a parallel release. But if you have the Canadian version of this card, it actually says the correct year for Reggie Jackson of 73. Really, really cool, right? Because they did not make the error in that Canadian one. I got one on order. It's on the way to me right now. Will Clark, 630. Now, this one, they also made an error that they did correct. It says he had 24 runs and 32 bases. It should be 104 and 321. Huge mistake on those, but they did come back and correct that. That's on the bio on the back, and you can get both of them for nothing, next to nothing. And then we got a couple more here, 641. It's a Canali Maz rookie card. It has two players on there. Canali is listed as an infielder on the front, but it's a first baseman on the back. They did not correct that. Last one, here's the checklist. Card number 660. They actually have them with two different font sizes. It comes in a bold or like a smaller font. Neither one of them worth anything. So that's the entire list of errors. There's a couple other facts I need to mention. If you're familiar with the set, you know that there is some other things going on here where the cards can say printed in USA or printed in Canada. Not an error. Those are parallel releases like we talked about with the Jose Canseco one. But with the USA thing, it's really funny because they left the dot, the last period off of USA on the bottom of the back of each card. So every card you can get with or without that extra period. So you get a lot of different variations with this set. Neither one of those are worth any more than the other. Don't get excited. This entire complete set is worth about $10. Costs more to ship than it's actually worth. And there's a couple other things here where a couple of the cards, I pulled a few of them aside, but there may be a bunch of them, where the copyright on the team logos, there's a couple Brewers cards here, where the copyright is either missing altogether or like it's half missing. So total, I counted about 63 total uncorrected errors. That's ridiculous. Okay, that's a lot of uncorrected errors. And I only counted about 3 corrected errors. Am I wrong on any of those? Anyone know any that I might have missed? Did you guys collect a lot of these 90 Fleer junk wax cards? I was into Don Rust at the time. I didn't collect a lot of Fleer, but it was a great follow-up of their 89 set, which also had a ton of errors. Thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, we got more on the way, more fun stuff on the way. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave some comments down below, and we'll see you next time.